And it happened to me. I mean, my son was kidnapped and held hostage. It was 3 years ago. And, my kid had just come in from hunting with his dad. He was excited. He made a video. It had with him taking apart a gun, one of our firearms, and putting it back together. He posted it on Snapchat, and the school never even saw it. A student from the school saw it, and she was concerned for my son's safety. Not that he threatened anybody, not that he, did anything illegal. She was concerned because he was playing with a firearm, at the house. And the school they just lost it. They called, law enforcement. Of course, law enforcement calls mental health. They come to my home. They raided my home. They took my guns from my home. DHS came into my home. They spent 14 hours in my home going through every drawer, every cabinet, under every bed of my home. They couldn't find anything that I was doing wrong with my children, but they demanded a district judge demanded that I put my child into a mental health facility for letting him hunt, for letting him, work on guns, handle guns, things like that. I had to put him in a mental health facility. And then they held him there for 14 days. They wanted him to say things that were not true. When he wouldn't cooperate with them, they would give him medication at nighttime to make him sleep. And then they would go in at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and get him out of bed and bring him in for interrogation at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after they've medicated him to make him say these things that were not true. Luckily, he was smart enough. He had a good enough head on his shoulders, to not cooperate with them. But they, all of this over something that's not even illegal. And it took me years. I'm still dealing with the sheriff's department, who continues to harass my family over this because I speak out. You speak out against it, and they just harass and harass and harass. And so when I say that they can come into your house, this should scare everybody. Mental health should scare everybody, because mental health, they can come in and they can take a child and you have no rights. I mean, I would have beat down walls to get to my kid, and I have no rights to him for the 14 days. And by the way, I'd like to say my child was on Medicaid at the time. And for those 14 days, Medicaid was paying the full price. And when I finally got him out of there, he was in there for 14 days. On the 15th day, the morning of, they called me at 5 o'clock in the morning and told me to come pick him up. They had him bagged up in trash bags. They had him sitting on a bench outside. So when they come pick him up, 14 days prior, they wanted to charge him with domestic terrorism, but they told me to come pick him up. I came and picked him up. I found out that Medicaid only they will pay full price for 14 days of treatment without a diagnosis. So they couldn't diagnose him.
Yeah. From an insurance standpoint, they had to get him to say certain things to extend that 14-day period. And he wouldn't, since he wouldn't cooperate, he wouldn't say those magic words, then they couldn't justify holding him any more than that 14 days. So if that doesn't tell you it's about money, I don't know what does.
Absolutely. He spent Christmas of 2021 in a mental hospital. My child did. And so that's what I'm saying. A bad counselor, I mean, they tried to convince him of all kinds of things. And I mean, like I said, if he wouldn't have had a good head on his shoulders, we would have still been dealing with that. I think if he would have been younger, he was 14 at the time. If he would have been a younger kid, we'd have still done it. When I tried to take him out of there, I revoked my consent. I went in there, I tried to take him out. The Oklahoma County District Attorney got involved, and they came in and said, "We'll take your daughter too. Keep messing with us and we'll take your daughter. Sit down and be quiet." That's what they told me.
So Ginger asked it. This was in Oklahoma.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Tell her what county it was.
This is Pottawatomie County.
In what school district?
Tecumseh School District. So we are no longer with that school district, but when they put him in Oklahoma County, then it transferred over to Oklahoma County. So we have multiple counties, and it was Oklahoma County that threatened to charge me. They got my son at some point in the night to sign a order of detention. The mental hospital did, giving the mental hospital rights to him. And you know that in Oklahoma, the legal consent is 12 years old for your children anymore. So once your child hits 12 years old, your child has to give you consent for their records in Oklahoma.
I thought it was 13. Is it 12?
I believe it's 12. Either way, my son was 14. But they convinced him to sign himself over to the mental hospital.
That's crazy.
And what was the school district again?
Say again?
What was the school district again?
Tecumseh. Yes, Tecumseh.
So Mary just wanted to point out she does have your story up on her website. So you guys that are watching, make sure you go to V1SUT and look up Roberta's story so that you can actually have that.